Wonderful, thank you. Alrighty. I call to order the regular council meeting of Wednesday, October 22nd, 2025 to order. I'd like to start this meeting off in a good way by acknowledging that we are gathered on the Treaty 8 First Nations territory in the long-standing presence of the elders and the ancestors of Treaty 8. And through this acknowledgement, we extend recognition and respect to the Treaty 8 First Nations and all those who call the Peace Country home. I'd like to move on to item number 3, recommend that council adopts the October 22nd, 2025 regular council meeting agenda as amended to include late item 10.1, Rural Economic Diversification and Infrastructure Program, revised application direction, as well as a variation to the agenda where the question period is moved to after the adoption of minutes. Can I get a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Johnston, thank you. Any other discussion? All those in favor? And that is unanimous and carried. Wonderful, thank you so much. Thank you, Councillor Wall. I keep forgetting you're up there. Can you put it so I can see him so I remember?
I don't have his image on right now. I think he's audio only, but...
Yeah, it just, even having his name up there would be super handy.
Oh, there he is.
There he is. You don't have to keep your camera on, but just being able to see your name will be super helpful.
I had my hand up for so long.
I couldn't see you. I can see you now. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to move on to adoption of the minutes. 4.1, I'd like to recommend that council adopts the September 17th, 2025 regular council meeting minutes as presented. Can I get a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Johnston, thank you. Discussion regarding the minutes? I'm going to call the question then. All those in favor?
Aye.
That is unanimous and carried. Recommendation that council adopts the October 8th, 2025 Committee of the Whole meeting minutes as presented. Can I get a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Johnston, thank you. Discussion regarding the minutes? I'm going to call the question then. All those in favor?
Aye.
And that is unanimous and carried. Item 4.3, recommend that council adopts the October 8th, 2025 council meeting minutes as presented. Can I get a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Johnston. Discussion regarding the minutes? Councillor Rabble?
Just a technicality, but 4.2 we had voted to move prior to 4.1 for the permissive tax because at the end of 4.2 is the note of myself excluding from the discussion of 4.1. Is that variation required, or will a future reader of these minutes ascertain that I exclude myself specifically for 4.1, and as well, member opposite, Councillor Wall, excluded himself as well. So my suggestion would be that 4.2 be placed above 4.1 in the record of these minutes.
So then it strictly shows that you were not present.
Yeah, just because of the end piece were excluded, so the whole chunk of 4.2 goes before 4.1 to see motion to vary the agenda.
Yeah.
So I would just swap them if possible.
Okay.
So
Staff, are you willing to take that note?
Absolutely, Your Worship.
Wonderful, thank you so much. Any other questions or comments regarding the October 8th special council meeting minutes? Okay, I'm going to move that we adopt the October 8th, 2025 special council meeting minutes with the change of moving that to between
swapping
it.
4.1 and 4.2, but also to include Councillor Walls as an exclusion as well, voluntary exclusion.
Yes, perfect. All those in favor? Wonderful.
Aye.
Thank you very much. All right, so as according to the variation of our agenda, we're going to move to our question period. So, my dear, the floor is yours. If you could just state your name and the section of the agenda that you're looking to speak to.
I'm Valerie Bernier, and I'm looking to speak to the tax exemption bylaw.
Yeah.
And it's probably not necessary for me to speak since there's nobody here to contest it, but I would like to express the reasons why we as a Legion would recommend a tax exemption for ourselves. So good evening, Mayor, Council, and guests. I currently sit as the first Vice President of the Coos Coopee branch of the Royal Canadian Legion. With the current motion on the floor for our Legion to have tax exemption, I hope that I can shed some light on our little Legion and help you to see just how imperative the Royal Canadian Legion is to our community, region, and even our country. Our local Legion is the only Legion left between Dawson Creek and Coos Coopee, with with the Dawson Creek Legion still maintaining a charter, it does not have a building or a place to congregate. We do have legions in Fort St. John, Tumbler Ridge, and Shetland, but we are the only one in our little region. Our lounge, which is currently open on Fridays and Saturdays, is the only place left in Pouce Coupe for folks to gather locally for lounge-type activities. We have our bar, of course, but it is so much more. We have our shuffleboard table and dartboards. Sometimes we host local musicians and entertainment, and our Friday and Saturday evenings are nights of camaraderie and inclusion, of laughs, enjoyment, and friendship. Our Legion is a staple of the community of Pouce Coupe, having been here for 99 years, celebrating the 100th year of our charter next year, which will bring with it many celebrations for not just our Legion members, but for the entire community. Our first such celebration is on November 29th, which will be our first of 5 dinner and dance nights, celebrating the decades between our current year and the final one with a 1920s theme that should be a whole lot of fun. It is just another way for us to open our doors and share some fun and entertainment with the community. We have hosted a monthly dinner night at our branch for many years, serving up a schnitzel dinner with all the fixings for the reasonable, and some would say very cheap price of just $25. It is an event that is always sold out and is looked forward to by so many in the village and beyond. Our volunteers tirelessly spend an entire week preparing for and then cooking the meal, which is pretty much famous by now. Our Legion is the emergency muster place for the village and has served us well over many years in that capacity. Our Legion has hosted Elections BC and Elections Canada year after year for our community to exercise their right to vote. Our Legion participates annually in our local Canada Day festivities, always entering a float in the parade and supplying our community and friends with a pancake breakfast, which is assisted by the local rangers and junior rangers and assists them in fundraising for their clubs. Our hall has seen many weddings, birthday parties, and family reunions, among other events, and is available at a reasonable cost. I could go on and on with the accolades and functions of our Legion here in Pouce Coupe, but what really needs to be said is that even with our monthly dinners and small fundraisers, we continue to be open on a month-to-month basis, as our revenue is barely enough to cover our monthly bills. Our facility is 100% volunteer run, and any extra money, if any, goes to building maintenance. The Legions all around Canada support youth by giving bursaries and scholarships, by hosting and providing venues for sports, events, and by engaging them with artistic contests relating to remembrance. They support communities by providing venues for events, opportunities for gathering, and aid for veterans and their families. They support seniors with many opportunities such as involvement in sports, volunteerism, and maybe most importantly, a community to share with each other. The last and most important point I have to make tonight is this. The Royal Canadian Legion's #1 priority and focus is to help veterans. You might say, but we don't have many veterans in Pouce Coupe. But a veteran is a veteran is a veteran. The ones who have made and continue to make our freedom a reality, veterans are not just soldiers who fought in the 2 world wars. They are also those who currently strive to maintain our freedom daily, those who wear a uniform and put their lives at risk every single day. They are the ones who have seen things we only see in movies or in our worst nightmares. Many have PTSD, and for perspective, there are over 3,000 homeless veterans in British Columbia alone. This year, Pouce Coupe Legion, with the help of the donations during our Canada Day pancake breakfast, was able to donate over $400 to go towards helping homeless veterans in British Columbia. And for so long as we are able, we will continue to try and help veterans. We can't do that without our Legion. So please hear us when we ask for your support in this tax exemption. It will go a long way in helping to keep our doors open for our community, our neighbors, and our veterans. And in return, we will be able to continue to strive to help Pouce Coupe in being the openly inviting and vibrant community that it is known for.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You did a beautiful job. Thank you. All right. Any other questions or anything for our presenter who has a question? Well, it was got to speak during our question period. Normally there'd be a bit more of a back and forth, but
Sorry, it wasn't a question.
no. It was beautifully read. Thank you so much.
And what she said is so true,
Yeah.
right? There's legions around here their towns don't charge them
Mhm.
taxes. And for us to be here for 99 years or however long, I think that's why I'm here, to speak up for the veterans that aren't here, the
Yes.
veterans' families that are still here. And with us paying that extra money every year, whatever, that money, we can help more people instead of paying the city for land taxes or whatever taxes it is.
Yeah. No, and I'm just double checking the bylaw, so.
Let me go
Yeah, and so I think within the bylaw that is being presented under 12.6, the Pouskabee Legion has been mentioned as a tax exemption, is that correct?
Yes, your worship.
Yes. Okay, and so now the only issue is this evening, we are gonna have a bit of an issue with quorum because 2 members of our council do sit on the Legion board. So sadly, we're not going to be able to read or go through the readings of it this evening. So we will be holding a special meeting. So I'm just going to be totally transparent. So look for it in the coming few weeks. There'll probably be a special meeting held, I'm assuming by next week, hey, Mr.
It'll have to be quick. The
And it's
deadline
gonna have
is-
to be quick,
it's the
yeah.
31st is the deadline, so.
All right, it's going to be happening quick. So keep a lookout, but just to sort of supply a little bit of hope, the Pouskabee, the Royal Canadian Legion Branch 34 has been mentioned in the tax exemption bylaw as being accepted as tax exempt in the village of Pouskabee. So unless there is a change brought forward by members of council, once the readings begin, that will hopefully happen for you guys coming into 2026.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Have a wonderful evening. Look, it was even before 8:30. That was pretty good.
It was a total pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I was shooting high, and then that way, if it hit 8:30, I'd be like, see? Awesome. Have a lovely night. Thank you.
Bye, James.
Alrighty. So we're gonna move into introduction of late items. We've already covered that with 10.1. That's already been noted under our agenda. So public hearings, we've already had that. Delegations, none. Item number 8, unfinished business and business arising from the minutes. Councillor Rabble, would you like to read that?
Oh, Dr. Carolyn Sanders, Seniors Aging in Place Research Project call for support. Recommendation that the committee as a whole. From the committee of the whole on October 20th, 2025, that council consider the request for support for Dr. Carolyn Sanders regarding the Seniors Aging in Place Research Project.
Okay, I'll second that. Any discussion? Councillor Rabble? Why not, right?
As the committee of the whole discussed, and I hope that council will take the committee of the whole's recommendation. There is validity to participating in this research program. We have a lot of seniors in the community. It's actually quite a proportion of our population. And for them to be able to age in place in a healthy way where their homes can be adapted to support them and that the community can support them as well and that organizations pop up and support them too, it's all wonderful. But honestly, having data backing this up and having quantitative methods backing this up always helps, and also helps with grants and whatnot as well. And I don't think it hurts, Let's
I think
apply the
it's-
scientific method.
I think it's really cool that Pouskabee has an opportunity to potentially lend its voice as
Yes.
they're going through and looking into this. We've had other opportunities as a small little rural community to lend our voices to different things done through the University of British Columbia, and so this is just another thing. So I think it's really awesome. Okay, any other comments? I'm gonna call the question then. All those in favor?
Aye.
And that is unanimous and carried. Yes, Councillor Rabble?
In regards to that, I don't know if we specified in the special meeting that followed it, or if we have to do it in this meeting. Did we also appoint yourself, Mayor, as
Yes.
the contact person?
Yep, I double checked. We did it at the special meeting.
That's what I thought.
I went back on the minutes
Just
and
to
was like,
clarify,
uh-huh.
yeah,
Yes.
okay, fair enough.
Yeah, no, so that's all good. The only thing that needed to be moved forward was the recommendation to support.
Okay.
Okay, wonderful. Alrighty, moving on to item 9, new business. 9.1, Councilor Johnson. you wanna-
Recommend the council direct staff to submit the LTDP to the PRA on or before October 31st, 2025.
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Rabble, thank you. Any discussion regarding? Councilor Rabble?
Okay, so obviously, I guess the question would be, can we bump up the numbers? What about emergency planning? And does this fit with our strat plan and OCP? And also, under, I think it's number 6 for capital reserves, can we throw in asset management? I know that's 4 things all at once, but hopefully that'll.
The floor is yours, Mr. Curiano.
To answer your question about bumping up the numbers, no. Because
If only.
that's the prescribed funding from the PRA
Okay,
over the next 5 years.
okay.
So we're responsible to come up with a plan to allocate said money over those 5 years. Okay, so that was the first one. What was the second one?
The second one would be, what about emergency planning?
Emergency planning, with respect to, what are you thinking in particular there?
Well, I believe that item number 10 or 9 are both blank.
Yeah.
And I know that we mentioned in there the fire station for expansion and whatnot, which, you know, says 900 and it might be more than that, but we have been downloaded on, the province has downloaded onto the municipality a variety of responsibilities in regards with emergency planning. I was wondering if we could also utilize the PRA money for some of that emergency planning, preparatory work, investment work, staffing work, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, great question. Has to come from somewhere. So
Yeah.
5.52 million that's allocated there is divvied up amongst the different spending plans. So yeah, we could put it in for sure. We would have to pull money from somewhere to put it in there.
I didn't realize there was a box that we had to fill up. I thought the box was topless and could go up.
I wish it was.
Oh my gosh, that would be amazing.
So that's
Can we
where
make
the
that
question
happen?
came from. So.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess to your question, there could be an additional piece maybe to encompass the emergency planning portion that added some verbiage to the fire hall expansion. So
Yeah.
and that allowed for some diversity there. That's something we could add quite easily.
Because I know that our counterpart, Councillor Waddell, would certainly have a piece to say on that. Also, UBCM being fresh in our minds.
Yeah,
It's
totally.
one of those.
I think you'd just be
Hills.
super stoked to see the fire hall mentioned in there at all, but it would definitely be easy for Mr. Carriotta to add some verbiage in there
Yeah,
regarding
that's all I'm looking for.
emergency planning.
For sure, yeah, absolutely. I would include it in spending item number 4 with the fire
Yeah,
hall
that's what I was
expansion.
looking at under the decontamination center.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking at.
I will lean on Mr. Malkinson there to get the appropriate verbiage necessary to ensure we're encompassing everything related to emergency response planning, so we can do that for sure. Not a problem?
What was your third one?
The third one was, is this in line with our strategic plan and I guess OCP, but current OCP?
Strategic plan, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Hits on the majority of the items that were highlighted in kind of the 5-year and 5-year plan primarily is where we focused on that. There's some additional, like if I would, I guess, direct your attention to spending item 5, more falls in line with the Thwaites property purchase and acquisition there, so.
Careful. Yes,
Potentially.
for potential property purchases, yes.
Exactly. That and, so there's that piece, and then you had a question around capital reserves.
Well, asset management under 6, and I see that it says asset replacement, but I'm just thinking of that broad umbrella of asset management. We've got to stock up the reserves for the several $1 million it will take to redo all the village's infrastructure.
Well, it does say under spending item like number 6, there's yearly transfers to various reserves funds for the village, and then he does also name asset replacement. So I think that does fall into those two. Is that what you're thinking?
And if I may, to narrow the question, is the $830,000 sufficient to assist in our capital reserve asset management program?
Right. Sufficient's very arbitrary.
Yeah.
I suppose.
If you think about it, we're.
It's more than we're
It
doing
helps.
now.
It's
It's a
more than,
drop
I
in
was
the
gonna say,
bucket.
it's more than we're currently able to do.
Is it, yeah, does it fulfill the need over the next 5 years? By no means. no.
Yeah.
No, okay.
Does it provide some structure to long-term asset management planning? For sure it does, absolutely. Yeah.
It's drops in the bucket,
Yeah.
Yes.
but the bucket has
Well,
holes.
Look at this.
$830,000 isn't nothing to
Shake your finger at.
but does lend some credence to the notion of that long-term asset management planning, for sure, yes.
And I guess the bonus question is, if I may, this is a format that I haven't seen previously. Is this a newly introduced thing, or is this something that usually was happening in the background, if I may?
No, this was presented to us by Mr. McPhail. This is all part of that 5-year, financial plan. I think the last time this was officially written up in this way was in 21, I think it was, yeah. And then, and so what's been going on is that each year within, previous, when we were working with Mr. McPhail, this is the document he would often use as his guide. When it came to our budget and our PL and PRA funding. You have seen it, we just haven't been able to really speak on it to this point.
It was eons ago of 2021.
Yes, it was the forevers ago of 2021, and so this is where, Mr. Curiot is really able to put his spin on it and really, take the reins on it for the first time, because he's been still working off of the 2021.
Yeah, we were required to report like last year and this year on the old one.
Yes.
So this would come into effect next year.
I got
You're killing me.
it.
Does anybody else have any more questions before you can't run the floor, Councillor.
No, I
Rowell.
can't. So Robert's rules says you gotta ask
Yeah.
somebody
Does anybody else have any questions before I move back to Councillor Ravel? Okay. All right, Councillor Ravel, you
Okay.
may continue.
My last and final question in regards to this
Okay.
matter is, does this plan, this proposed plan, is it in compliance with the PRA? Are we so-called on side with our capital and operational split with the language of the PRA? Because my understanding is the PRA has been opened up a little bit more.
There's no specific language in the PRA. There's rough guidelines out there.
That's the way to put it.
There's communities who would have, say like a 60-40 split when it comes to capital versus operational.
70-30 and 80-20. Everybody has their own individual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The part of the challenge I guess we ran into from a reporting perspective is that operational side was never really recognized prior. So we wanted to ensure that there was a dipping of the toe into the operational side of it, because really at the end of the day, we are dependent on PRA funding for operational purposes.
Which is we hate to admit.
Yeah, as much hate to admit it. It's
We're not the only ones that have to admit it though,
Yeah.
so I feel a little bit better about it.
To be like, I think it should actually be probably opposite of even what's here, really, in that respect. However, this plan allows us and the village, I guess for that matter, the opportunity to at least be able to reconcile that operation side at the end. For example, when I did the report last year, there's a historical carry forward amount in the report that worked its way through 21, 22, 23 to us in 24. That really is operations at the end of the day, but there's no item spending or spending item number.
It hasn't been previously identified,
It
where
hasn't.
now it is. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's one of the biggest shifts.
So spending item number 7 does have the operational activity of $1 million over the next 5 years, and spending item 8 is a planning portion of that governance and development in terms of policy and planning. So 1.2 million really from an operational perspective out of a $5.2 million get from the PRA equates out to roughly about 30-ish% in terms of
And
25%.
Yeah, and 70-30 is that goal that we've been working towards. So this Doesn't get us completely there,
No.
no, but it gets us in the right direction.
Okay.
Actually, it's actually an 80-20 split in terms of capital to
Oh, yeah.
operations in this, which I still would lament, I guess, the fact that it's probably not totally achievable
at this
even
time,
at
yeah.
that point there, yeah. But it's a step in that direction, A, of recognition, but B, also that asset management planning from a long-term perspective, that needs to happen, so.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just, if you would like any further breakdown when it comes to the PRA, whether it's questions of how this process goes out, email Mr. Curiotta. He is a wealth of information and he's been learning so much and it's all really fresh in his brain, so now is the time. And so just so that we can kind of move on, I know that the PRA could be a bit of a longer conversation. So I just ask that you email him and then he can answer any further questions that you currently have.
Sure.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, I'm going to call the vote then. All those in favor?
Aye.
And that is unanimous and carried. Wonderful, thank you. All right.
I'd like to take a point of privilege for a moment. I'm having some trouble with the audio. It's really hard for me to hear clearly. It's nobody's fault. I'm just in a remote location.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna hop off and exit the meeting, and if that's all right with everyone, just because it's really difficult for me to follow. And then I'll see the minutes, or I'll have a conversation with you guys later.
No, that's
over.
That's totally fine, James. Thank you so much for attempting to join us, and we wish you have a wonderful night.
You as well.
Bye. Alrighty, moving on to 9.2, policy development and review. I'd like to make recommendation number 1, that the council approves policy number 2.11, bylaw and policy review program. Can I get a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Johnston. Discussion regarding the policy?
Sorry, this is for 211?
211, yes. Please.
Okay, so, I appreciate it. This is a really good idea. Absolutely throw this into policy so that we have some guidelines for the future, so that isn't haphazard. That's done on a regular basis. This is very standard operational procedures. If I may, could we, I've always thought that the betterment of the community and ease of doing business, would that be appropriate to fit into the first purpose? You know, where it's mentioning.
Can you read what you're looking for in its entirety?
Sure. So the purpose of this policy, so this is the current
Yes.
piece, and then I'll stuff it in. The purpose of this policy is to ensure that village bylaws and policies are routinely reviewed to reflect current legislation, best practices, strategic priorities to add, and the betterment of the community and ease of doing business for the village of Pooskoopie. Right? That's my suggestion, is just adding into that list within the sentence. Betterment of the community and ease of doing business.
I think my only concern with doing that is, does that change the message of the bylaw? I guess I would look to staff regarding that by adding that in.
Through your worship, I think Councillor Rattle is speaking to some more cultural aspects that we might look to include, like just kind of how we do things. I would see it as a fairly, I know I don't get a vote, but a very friendly amendment.
Very friendly amendment,
Yeah.
okay. Okay, as long as it doesn't change any of the language or the meaning or any of those things, I'm generally fine with that. Okay, and I'm fine with that change, as I stated.
I'm just thinking in 500 years when, they're continuously updating the bylaws.
I love how we're living longer every time. Are you feeling it as well?
In 500 years.
I don't wanna live that long.
The new council, the new staff.
Of course, in 500 years, I love it.
They've got to make sure that it's for the betterment of the
Okay,
community.
I'm fine with that language being added in. Councillor Johnston, are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
Yes. Okay, is there any other areas that you would like to see a language change?
It's good.
No? Okay.
So,
Awesome. Well, then I am going to call the question. All those in favor of approving policy 211 with the changes as noted by Councillor Councillor Rabble. All those in favor?
I know it will.
Councillor John's like, I totally said that. That was definitely me. All right. Okay, who would like to read number 2?
The council approves policy 1.8 statutory and public holidays as amended.
Can I get a second here? Seconded by Councillor Johnston. Your hand is going to be so busy tonight, Councillor, like you have no idea. Just, you're going to get. Yes, Mr. Malkinson.
Thank you, Your Worship. So, after we posted this policy, we got a little bit of feedback from some admin staff on interpretation, and although council's direction to us on bringing this back, like the wind up on it was basically clarifying the addition of the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation to be September 30th. There is some overlap in this policy between some provisions that are included in the collective agreement, and of course this policy precedes the existence of some of those provisions in the collective agreement. So there's an interpretive, just to sort out all the knots, so to speak. There's an interpretive clause that I might suggest you folks consider adding to this. Basically teases out that nuance. So it's, in the event of a conflict between this policy and the collective agreement, for employees subject to the collective agreement shall prevail to the extent of the inconsistency. So it's basically,
What is the inconsistency?
so what was flagged to us is part-time employees, section 10. Part-time permanent employees who are eligible for statutory and public holidays will have holiday pay paid out of 4.62 on each paycheck in lieu of holiday pay on statutory and public holidays. The collective agreement has an extra sentence at the end of this part that basically says that the 4.62 may be subject to change as holidays are added, but this is a static figure. So
Okay, so there's no room for that.
and at the end of the day, I assured QP and representatives, the staff that are in the bargaining unit, that there's a section in the community charter that basically says in the event of a conflict between an employment agreement, including collective agreement,
Yes.
the collective agreement prevails.
Yes.
Basically, and the point of that rule is so that council can't say, oh, we're going to pass a bylaw that says all staff get $1 for compensation a year. It's you can't use your power. A contract is a contract. So basically to make it clear that council's not trying to overstep the collective agreement, I might suggest basically recognizing that there is a collective agreement in place, and that where that language is relevant to the interpretation here, the collective agreement language would be about that.
And this addition would be under the part-time employees number 10, and you would be adding in between 10 and 11, I'm assuming?
I might suggest it like as kind of a preamble, like procedure or something, like
Okay.
a 5 underneath bullet point number 4.
Okay, perfect. I'm just looking to kind of
No, it's
see
good.
where exactly it's going to be within.
Yeah.
I get picky about that. Poor Mr. Malcontent has been dealing with me with agreements for like a week, and I think he's probably getting over it. Yes, Councillor Rowell.
I'm in agreement of adding the collective piece under procedure number 5 and then bumping all the numbers, but specifically with number 10, with the specific percentage number mentioned and everything like that, that's probably not the spot for this in a policy. So we may even be interested in adding simply just striking after paid out and then just slash everything after it and paid out in accordance with the with the applicable collective agreement.
So that's where the trick is this policy doesn't delineate, previously, this policy is not delineated between exempt and bargaining unit employees.
Oh.
So that was a strategy that Jimmy and I ran a couple of days ago.
Interesting.
We can't do it.
Because the excluded folks
Yeah.
That's correct.
would not have a definition to this, but they supposedly would have a employment agreement.
Yeah.
It's pretty niche. Most of the monetary benefits that are referenced in this policy kick back to the Employment Standards Act anyway, so you're probably talking pretty low risk. But again, it's just kind of the approach here is to fix the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation, not make a big, so I'm just trying to do a minimally invasive thing that recognizes QP's role.
So then with that, Mr. Malkinson, I can assume that you have done your due diligence to make sure that the language you're looking to add in does meet the statutory and QP requirements of this policy, am I correct?
These, are you So I'll take them in turn. So truth and reconciliation, yes. Contemplated in the collective agreement. Statutory requirement, the ESA, we're good. Number 2 would be the consistency. That's back the consistency amend that I read off at the beginning. You're also good there because it is backed up by community charter. I can't remember the section, but basically privacy of employment agreements. And there's a third one, just not a language change, but relevant to the interpretation here. I'm just trying to pull it up. It's related to Canada Day festivities, I believe. Like there's some references here to
For 5 the employment standards act?
yeah, shoot. I'm trying to remember the other one. There was another clause in here that was relevant to the interpretation of that we just wanted to say, okay, you know,
Yeah.
we're good here. You know, don't worry, QP, you're still male, and you know all the other.
I just want to make sure that if council moves forward with approving the policy with the amendment in which you suggested that it's meeting all the requirements that are needed. So I'm just looking for you to confirm. Go.
I'm
Yeah.
feeling good about it.
He's feeling good about it. That's all I'm looking for. I'm just looking for confirmation that you're feeling good.
Apologies, I sometimes come across as wishy-washy when I, sometimes it's
No, it's asking a question with a question, right? I just like to be very firm.
yeah, that's good.
Wonderful, okay. Any other questions regarding any of the changes that Mr. Wilkinson brought forward or the policy 8.1?
I so moved the amendment proposed by staff.
Yeah, and so are you motioning to approve with the amendments? Okay, can I get a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Johnston. All those in favor? And that is unanimous and carried. All I was looking for. Thanks, guys. I know, sometimes I come off as, you know, the stutter doesn't help. I get it, but it's just like, you know, elephant in the room, but, no, right? You'd never know. Okay, moving on to number 3. Do you want to read that one, Councillor Johnson? I'm throwing you right on the spot, I'm so sorry.
Recommend that council authorize the allocation of up to $3,500.
What are you reading?
Sorry.
You said
9.2, number 3.
The council approves policy 2.8, recycling as amended.
Second.
Seconded by Councillor Rebel. I'm trying to get your hand to break. Any discussion regarding the policy? Yes, Councillor Rebel?
So the only real change was that if like 5, like it's if there's operational issues or service disruptions to recycling, we report it. This is an older policy that I've never seen before.
I don't think this is really one that, like, did
This
it?
was not on our radar.
Like 2017 is when it
Yeah.
was officially adopted, yeah. What did we add into it? Just looking for confirmation, Mr. Hill?
Yes, so basically we just added number 5, which just adds a monitoring requirement that if there's anything wrong, that staff report it
Oh, okay, perfect.
to their supervisors or to administration.
But report non-compliance.
The report, no, I guess so, yeah.
Okay.
I love it. We're even on top of each other. It's this is good.
I want to look forward to Jimmy's reports of non-compliance related to recycling.
I'm really feeling it, yes, Councillor Rebel.
For number 4, though, employees shall be instructed. What responsibility would that be? Of course, their supervisor, the CAO for the entire organization.
There's an example of that not an hour ago, where Jimmy was asking whether or not there was a piece of material that belonged in which bin, and I offered to get back. This would.
There's a whole PowerPoint, it's beautiful.
There's a couple of different training, lack of a better word, databases or spreadsheets, and you know, there's some things that we come back to, not necessarily via OH&S, but OH&S, there is a component that we have in it that does consider staff training, so to speak, on a variety of different topics. So, you know, it'd be tracked, I suppose, through that. Just again, it's not a formal program, so to speak. It's a, you know, hey, it's been 3 years since we've talked about this, or hey, the rules have changed. You know, are we aware of this? Let's send out an email.
Yeah. And then there's also that part where it is staff that work very closely with our recycling partner to inform the public as well. And so it's sort of also covered under that bit as well, because they're informing the public, thus then we need to make sure that they're informed here as well, right? That trickle down system.
Mm.
Yeah. Yes.
Does the language in 4, so it's instructed, but based off of that information provided, could we maybe shift the language to basically all village employees shall be informed as to proper recycling and regular staff training, or should it be kind of a more a different approach in the language, or is this sufficient for operational purposes? I don't mean to comment on operations.
It suits the purpose in terms of what I understand your point to be. I think the language there does suit the purpose. We try to be holistic, a little bit dynamic, change things up, make sure that, again, at the end of the day, it's conversants, in any case, not just recycling. We want to make sure that people have a meaningful understanding of, what we're asking them to take on. Again, going back to the collective agreement, there's even language in the collective that does speak to that. So it's we're going to try to employ the methods that are going to get that job done best in any event.
All right.
I'll leave it there.
Perfect. I'm going to call the question then. All those in favor? And that is unanimously carried. Thank you. All right, moving on to item 9.3, recommend that council authorize the allocation of up to $3,500 to host a 2025 village staff and fire department Christmas party funded from the administration training and travel budget.
Full stop. That's perfect.
Well, I know.
That's a typo. We pulled it from the report, your worship, but on the cover sheet we just had the, that was one thing I was going to clarify.
Okay, because I know that you had talked about pulling it from the recognition budget for the fire hall.
We're not going to do that.
You're not going to?
Yeah.
Okay.
I discussed with Blair, the proper uses of that line, and I think we're in good shape there.
Well, I know that you were going to look into it, so thank you so much for double checking it, because again, there's so many specifics on what that line can be used for. And so my question then to you, actually, can I get a seconder on that? Sorry. Seconded by Councillor Johnson. My question to you is, between the administration training and travel budget, is there enough money left over? Okay, perfect. I just wasn't sure if you needed to go to all three, because I know originally you were looking and trying to figure it out. So.
Josh runs a tight ship,
He really does. He's just iron fist Curiata over there, actually.
The answer is no.
The answer is never.
Since I started, and he just no.
I know. He is as much of the Grinch as I am. It works out so we're a really dynamic duo. It's working well. Okay, perfect. And there is enough funds. Wonderful.
That's correct.
And I know in the report, this is roughly what was spent last year. It was around $3,000. Honestly, I just would like to sort of speak to this with council. I'm really hoping that council will approve this. Our Christmas parties are always a real hoot. I know Ms. Stokes and Ms. Green were often the leaders of the Christmas party with all their fun, crazy games and having mitts and unwrapping things. But it was more than just having fun. It was giving us an opportunity to really just chill and hang out with the staff and hang out with the fire department and hang out with the volunteers within Pouce Coupe and just really on a more human level. And I honestly just want to see all the games that we're going to have to make Mr. Wilkinson come up with. Oven mitts and saran wrap were a huge hit. I'm just saying, we love candy.
Yes, I can use Xbox.
You know what? You're on. I kicked butt at Mortal Kombat, so I'm down. So any other questions regarding the recommendation that's on the floor? Okay, I'm going to call the question then. All those in favor? And that is unanimous and carried. Thanks, guys. Knowing me, I've already booked a flight to Kamloops. I'm not going to be here to just watch. Oh gosh. I know. 2 more months and I'm not going to have to travel anymore. I'm done traveling as of April. Okay, resolutions. 10.1. Rural Economic Diversification and Infrastructure Program revised application. Recommend, whereas, I need to make sure I'm reading this in the correct order.
Late item. I know.
I know. Whereas the Village of Pouce Coupe recognizes the importance of strengthening its economic development capacity to support long-term community resilience, business attraction, and economic diversification. And whereas the village intends to undertake projects focused on industrial growth, planning, beautification planning, and building local planning capacity for economic diversification, consistent with Council's strategic priorities and the economic development work plan, Whereas the village intends to apply to the Rural Economic Diversification and Infrastructure Program, read it, under the economic capacity stream, which provides up to $50,000 annual for up to 3 years, 100% funded, and may provide an additional $100,000 in development funding. Therefore, be it resolved that the Council of the Village of Poughkeepsie formally support the preparation and submission of a REDIP application under the economic capacity stream to enhance investment readiness and advance industrial and commercial growth opportunities within the community, and that the Village of Poughkeepsie authorizes its chief administrative officer or other designated official to provide all required information, documentation, approvals, and signatures necessary to complete the REDIP application process and to execute the subsequent grant agreement if awarded, and that the village acknowledges that the grant award is conditional on execution of a grant agreement with the province of British Columbia, that the total grant payable will not exceed the amount noted in this agreement. And I get a seconder on that one? Councillor Rebel, if I'd have known it was that long, I'd have made you radio voice it. You know I love it when you radio voice things. Oh, it's a missed opportunity. Have you heard his radio voice? It's so good.
I'm sure I have.
Anyway.
It's screechy.
No, it's because you need to do it more. Okay, anyway. Any questions regarding that whole thing I just read?
You want a little wind up on it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Do it.
So,
Preach.
Council, your worship might recall, if you wind back the clock to mid-September, there was a report that was presented to you folks asking you what your preferences were for us to go for this particular grant. I'm, adamant, so to speak. I've been adamant with the staff, or even with Josh, that it's important to basically, when these grant programs come up, ask, okay, what are the village's priorities, and does this fit into what the village's priorities are, or is going for this basically constituting a value add for what the village is doing, or is it maybe pulling us a little off course? So anyhow, the report that you folks had in September cited 3 options. One was I believe a recreation plan to be applied for under this program. The other one was an infrastructure master plan, and the third was economic development capacity, basically. One of the conversations, or one of the points that was raised, was that NDIT had only recently awarded us a grant for economic development work, and that infrastructure master plan was a very pressing need for the village. This afternoon we had a conversation with REDIP staff, who identified that although the infrastructure master plan would theoretically be eligible under the previous application that we were hoping to submit, we basically got hey, this is a pretty heavily subscribed stream, and doesn't look like it might hit the eligibility criteria as hard as the other applications that we have. So we got more or less nudged towards making an application for the economic development capacity stream. So some of the work that's we had a quick huddle this afternoon, myself and the new economic development officer, and we identified a few things that have been outlined in the last few years on the economic development front that theoretically can be tackled via this grant. And basically there's a 2-component to it. So there's a 3-year $50,000 grant that's more for building capacity within the village, and depending on the language that's provided within the program guidelines, I think we'd be tailored towards economic development or economic diversification and building some local planning capacity within the village office here, and conducting some feasibility and planning work tied to future industrial or commercial expansion, beautification planning, and industrial growth planning. We did vet the industrial growth and the beautification aspects by REDIP, and they did say that they felt like that would be a good fit. It was identified in the application. So those are some of the things that we're eyeing. I'm happy to take some questions, because it's a bit of a strategy change at the last minute. So.
Some money is better than no money, but as we had discussed in September, my recollection was that the third option was the result would have been some sort of capital master plan that would have guided investment in critical infrastructure and what was the most dilapidated and needed repairs. Are we able to realize some of that result in this stream, or where does that land?
So to speak generally, like that iron is still hot. We do have, some engagements that we were working on with some partners to come up with scopes of work and, high level cost estimates for that work to be performed in 2026. So whether a grant agreement comes up or whether or not it's referred to budget, that might be it's still important work and it's still in council's strategic plan. And I think, as we're trying to forecast some of our asset replacement or, capital works over the next few years, it's important to basically, hopefully, the methods they vary, right? But with good, independent data, hopefully predict where some of the weak spots are and do replacements proactively on water, let's say, or sewer, whether it's CCTV or acoustic resonance or, break history or whatever. There's a couple of different methods that, can be employed to try to, forecast what the weaknesses are in the system and map out the system as well. But in terms of how that would play into this particularly, the nudge that we got today was basically, I think that even though the general application was salient or real in their view, they noted that it was perhaps too broad to demonstrate, tangible economic impacts, that you couldn't necessarily. So to that end, maybe there could be a tailored fix that might be a future application for this program, but for infrastructure, let's say we need to replace, a portion of this pipe to facilitate this kind of a development. But in terms of this round, I don't know what the price, so to speak.
So although it's not specific to this grant, it helps build capacity in that direction potentially, and it is still something that is on the docket in the future, and it's not being forgotten.
High priority. I know I can't act on the, council expresses its will through resolution or bylaw, but I'm not completely tone deaf either. I've heard from a number of councillors that, we really want to hone in on infrastructure next year. And I think to that end, we want to make sure that there's some options in council, or options in the budget here for council to move forward with that. So the scoping and the cost estimates are still moving forward on that.
We have many cans of worms to eat.
We do, and now as that lagoon is coming to its finish, our residential infrastructure is gonna be on the top.
And we're hungry for worms.
Wonderful. Any other discussion? I'm gonna call the question then. All those in favor? And that's unanimous and carried. Thank you. Moving on to correspondence. I am comfortable accepting 11.1 for information, unless there is a discussion that you would like to have.
I'd like to slightly discuss it.
Okay, all right. Then, would you like to read the recommendation?
That council received a correspondence from the Peace River Regional District for discussion regarding regional zoning bylaw number 2582/2025.
I'll second that. Okay, please.
So this is a very large project that the regional district has undertaken. They're unifying 5 zoning bylaws and probably a bunch of other little bits and bobs. It's all coming together. So this is a big change in the direction of the regional district. We are partners with the regional district as being a member municipality, as being a part of the confederation that forms the regional district. How will this zoning bylaw impact Pooskoopi? Because although we have our own jurisdiction over our own bylaws, we would have, we butt right up against Area D in the regional district. We're surrounded by the regional district. I'm interested in it. Plus, the other piece to note, if I may, is that this pertains to industrial uses, which is what the PRA is funded through. Therefore, potentially, although I don't believe that the PRA would be, in any way hampered by this, I'm just saying that this does technically pose potential impacts to the village itself. And I'm curious as to how we should approach this. Obviously, it's not our document, it's the regional district. We do have representation at the regional district. I think that we should, obviously this is out to seek public input. This is, public input period is until November 30th. I wouldn't want to see this just be like, oh cool, we got it, thank you. I wonder how we could go about maybe providing suggestions, is what I'm really getting at.
Well, so, I know that as the representative that sits at the PRRD table for the Village of Poughkeepsie, this has definitely been something that they've been working on for some time. Part of this came up not only, because it was due, but also due to some legislative changes that have definitely happened that needed to be reflected within the zoning bylaw for the PRRD. And so some of those changes really can't be changed because they are coming from the province. They're also looking to kind of open things up a little bit more, a lot of us really are, with the impacts to the resource sector within the region. The current PRRD board has expressed interest in opening up zoning to support local farmers as best as they possibly can with at-home businesses and with the subdividing and parcel sizes to the best of their ability. And so, which has also something that the Village of Poughkeepsie has been looking at doing, is sort of laxing some of those things as best as we can. And the PRRD is definitely moving in that direction as well. At this point in time, they've just concluded the public comment period, if I remember correctly, and this has come back before the board once again. My suggestion to council is, if you have any comments or concerns, you can definitely send them to me and I can voice them directly at the RD table. When it comes to the PRRD zoning bylaw as a municipality, we don't exactly get to take part as much in the public comment period as the regular public does, but I would definitely bring forward any concerns or questions that this body may have. Did I do it? Is it a high five? Yes.
So the email that pertains to it says comments back to us by November 30th, but I'm assuming that is there between November 30th and now, is there an RD meeting that will be discussing this matter, or will they hold it until after that time?
No, they will hold it till after the November 30th, and then if I remember correctly, this is the final comment period before it starts being read in. And so really this is, as I said, we don't really get to go to those big public consultations that everybody else gets to with the cute little slideshows and all the other things. I don't have quorum.
That's just what I was gonna say.
We have to recess them.
Yeah, we're gonna recess we're gonna pop a pin in that one. Hang on a minute.
Magic's gone. Jim, could you kind of? Thank you. Appreciate it.
I was like mid-sentence, I was like, I can't even finish speaking.